Welcome to HortTube. My name is Jim Putnam. In this video, as with many videos, I'm back to planting in this 2/10 of an acre lot in Raleigh, North Carolina, Zone 7B. Today I'm excited for some of the things I'm putting in the ground that I find super interesting. The first one is this Joe Pyweed. I actually dug this up from a neighbor's who was moving and allowed me to go onto their property and grab a couple things as they were leaving. And I'm excited to have this Joe Pyweed. I got a dwarf Joe Pyweed in the backyard. This is just a regular one. It's going to get quite tall, 4 or 5 feet in height here. They tend to grow upright and narrow. This is a herbaceous perennial, dies to the ground in the wintertime, native to the eastern United States, later blooming than a lot of other native flowering perennials, and gives the pollinators something well into the summer with that's also a native perennial. So excited about my Joe Pyweed. Let's move on. Next up, I'm going to plant a few Hookerella. Hookerella are super interesting. They are a mix between Hookerella and Pyweed, which are two distinct genera. Most of the time when we talk about hybrids, it's interspecies hybrids. So it would be two of the same genera, but two different species crossed together. But this is actually two distinct genera that were crossed and to make Hookerella, and you get some of the interesting attributes from both Pyweed and Hookerella, and just absolutely incredible foliage on this variety right here called Tapestry. I hope you'll be able to see just how detailed that is. Pale pink flowers on these, great for pollinators. I'm going to stick this one in the ground right here, and then I have a couple others to show you after this one goes in the ground. The second one's called Alabama Sunrise, also super striking. This one's kind of interesting because when I first got this one, it was much more muted, but as it's put on some new growth, it's gotten brighter and brighter. Really a beautiful variety. But it's going to go right here behind these Brigadoon St. John's wort. The last Hookerella is called Buttered Rum, kind of a perfect name for this color. Really beautiful. I'm going to go right here. These prefer part shade, and so all three spots that you've seen me put these in are going to be shaded. They're going to get some morning sun. This one's about to be in the sun right now, and it's going to get direct sun for about 3 hours, mid to late morning, and then the wooded area behind it's going to kind of take over. These need to be mounded up some when they're planted, and so I've been leaving them up an inch or an inch and a half above the original grade and just pulling the mulch up to the edge of them. But last one. It's been about a week since I had filmed the plants that you've seen so far in the video going in, and already this Joe Pyweed has hit the ground running. It's grown 6 or 8 inches already since I put it in the ground, and it'll end up in this height range. This butterfly bush that's next to it will compete with it a little bit. I'll have to do a little bit of pruning on it, but if you guys are following the channel, you should see this blooming here in the next month or so. A few other things that I put in the ground since then that are also pretty interesting. I put this little blue star ground cover in the ground next to this stone, and I intend to use this ground cover. It has these little delicate blue flowers on it. I intend to use this in between stones around the landscape, and I've planted it here, and I will just divide from it. As I'm doing the stone pathways, I'll come over here and grab a little bit of it, plug it in, and it will spread between the pathways. It's a spreading little ground cover, but not super aggressive. Pretty easy to control. Another thing that got planted this past week, this is a Lonicera, or it's in the honeysuckle family, Lonicera nidea. This is a variegated version of it. This was in a tour video I did not that long ago. These are exciting little shrubs, non-invasive. Can reach about, this variety will reach maybe 2.5 feet in height, maybe 2.5, 3 feet in width. Fill the space beautifully. Variegated foliage year round. Southern Living Plant Collection has 3 of these that they're releasing, I think next year, that I'll have pretty soon to show you. Great little low maintenance shrubs. I think people are going to go from not really knowing Lonicera nidea to having them everywhere. I think that's what we're going to see in the next few years. One other thing that I got in the ground, this is another, I'm trying to use ground covers around the landscape to fill in spaces where I can reduce the amount of mulch I'm using. So this is a little red dwarf thyme that will hold close to the ground. Again, once I have it, it's in the ground now, I can come over here and divide from this in the future and plug it into various pathways and things that I'll be installing in the next few months. Here is that tapestry Hookerella that I put in the ground earlier in the video, kind of in full flower now. It has settled into this space. It has settled into this space nicely. Again, they're all mounded up just a little bit. And in my clay soil, I have to do that with Hookerellas, Tiarellas, all of them. This Alabama Sunrise, this thing just looks fantastic with this Brigadoon St. John's wort. These are going to look great together. This one's starting to send up a flower spike here. This is a really kind of vigorous growing Hookerella. Super impressed. Super impressed with that one so far. Here's that buttered rum Hookerella, and again mounded up high. This is back toward the very back of the property. Again, it's going to get a good amount of morning sun and then be in some afternoon shade. One I haven't shown is called Solar Flare, that got planted several months back, but this is another beautiful Hookerella. Again, it's in full flower right now. Going to get lots of morning sun again, and then be in the afternoon shade. But so there we go. So planted 4 Hookerellas, some new ground covers, that Lonicera nidea in this video, and so make sure you're subscribed to the channel and hit that little bell notification to make sure you're getting updates when I upload videos, so you can see the progress of this entire landscape project here in Raleigh, North Carolina, Zone 7B.